and just put yes or continue. So again, everyone, welcome to the first Health and Public Safety meeting of 2022. I'm glad that you are here. And so kicking our meeting off, we've got a really great topic that we're going to talk about. I should say that anybody also that wants to ask a question, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see an icon that says raised hand. And when you click on that icon, your hand will appear, a silhouette of your hand will appear under your name in the script. So with that being said, I'd like to take this opportunity. I see that Vianna Para is with us. Vianna, for those of you who don't know, has been appointed the field deputy for Council President Nuri Martinez. So Vianna, thank you for attending. Welcome to our meeting. And I will start off by asking you if you would like to address the group. If some, there you go.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. So I've been able to meet at least some of you. It's been a pleasure to serve as the Lake Balboa field deputy. Nothing super urgent. Of course, we are having our human trafficking donation drive. So that goes on until February. I believe it actually is posted at the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council website. So for this, we're looking for cosmetics and mostly toiletries, full-size toiletries to go towards human trafficking victims. I know we've been able to collect some donations already, but if you know of anyone or personally have some of these items, we definitely would love to donate these. And for anyone who is uninitiated as to what I could do, I can definitely help with city services. We've been very good at getting many streets in Lake Balboa repaved and resurfaced in the last year and even this month. So if you have any pressing city-related issues with streets, sidewalks, trees, definitely feel free to reach out to me or my office, and we'll see what we can do to help you. And it's a pleasure to serve as the Lake Balboa field deputy.
Great, thank you, Vianna. Is there a form, by the way, to be filled out with regard to repaving streets?
Not currently. Right now, we're tracking it internally in our office. So if you have any suggestions, definitely feel free to email me. And the second that the applications open up for the next repaving cycle, we'll definitely be able to push those in.
Great, great, thank you. Okay. Officer Park.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for attending. I'm going to kind of change the schedule a little bit because I know your time is valuable. And do you have anything to speak to us about tonight?
I noticed on your agenda, you're talking about how we are able to respond to a lot of the calls with the COVID issues and some of these other issues that divisions are having with lack of officers. Is that something that you're going to cover later?
Yes, I do have something just in brief from the chief that talks about brief delays in routine calls. Okay.
All right. Then I'll just do the public safety data for Lake Balboa.
Great.
We've had in month of December, we had 2 robberies, 10 aggravated assault, 6 burglary, 8 GTAs, 17 burglary from motor vehicles, 13 theft, and no homicide, no rape, and so it wasn't a bad month. But unfortunately, our GTA, they continue to stay consistent where people are leaving keys in their cars, believe it or not, or leaving their car running on their driveway or on the street because they want to jump in and out, and that's just an ongoing thing. And we make public address about that issue, but it doesn't seem to deter people from doing it.
Right, right. What about Lake Balboa in particular? Do you have any information on that?
I don't have a specific Lake Balboa data, but the data that I gave is Lake Balboa area in
Okay.
general. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank
much for those remarks. We did hope that we would have a representative from the LA City Attorney's Office Gun and Gang Violence Prosecution Unit to discuss current gun safety laws. She sent me an email about 2 hours ago indicating that she had just returned back from a vacation. It was her first vacation in 2 years. So she's just returning back. So unfortunately, she's not going to be able to be with us tonight, but she did commit to meeting with us at a future CPAP meeting. So that's good. We will be talking about gun laws today if we get to that topic. And so never fear. Our topic is going to be public safety in our schools with a discussion and possible action regarding gun violence. And we're going to stick with that. And so the question that I would put out there to everyone is, should parents be held responsible for gun violence crimes of their children in schools? Now, who is guilty when teens break the law? Should the parents be blamed? Because it's no secret that teens break the law. They do everything from underage drinking to vandalism to drug possession under the influence. But then you've got some other people who commit much more serious crimes, felony type crimes like grand theft auto, rape, even murder. And so we know that children of all ages are capable of breaking the law, but it can be speculated that adolescents, particularly those in the middle and high school years, are often thought of as making or being responsible for a lot of the crimes that are committed in schools. Now, children of any age can make a mistake, and they do. But still, those that are in high school and middle school are still rational, reasonable human beings who know exactly what they're doing. So therefore, their crime should not make their parents responsible, or should it? Anyone have an opinion about that? Okay. Yes, Danica.
Hi, James.
Hi.
Hi. So I came in on the tail end of that. I'm not able to see anybody else on the meeting. Should I? Do I need to be a panelist?
I thought I made you a panelist. Let me just double check here.
Oh, join as panelist.
There you go.
Aha.
All right, good. So you were saying you came in on the tail end, and what I was saying, I just posed a question: should parents be held responsible for gun violence crimes that are committed by their children at school, knowing full well that it's been speculated that most of the crimes that are perpetrated in schools are done by teenagers,
Mhm.
that are going to middle and high school. But teens in America engage in some pretty risky behavior, some very serious crimes with serious consequences. And so we know that these children that are making these mistakes are still sane, rational human beings who know exactly what they're doing. So therefore, their crime should not make their parents responsible, or should it? And I was asking for an opinion.
Me?
Yes,
I
yours.
think parents should definitely be held responsible for their children. I think as a parent, your job is to guide, to love, support, guide your child, and you should really know what's going on with your child. And if there's that much of a disconnect that oh my God, I can't believe my kid did this, then you didn't know your child. I don't know, just me as a parent, I do.
Well, you know, I appreciate you saying that, and you know, I've had discussions with other people about this who vehemently disagree. And the purpose of this meeting tonight is not pro-gun or anti-gun. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
But what it has to do with is public safety, public safety. And the
Right.
reason why I chose this topic to discuss tonight, because there has been an alarming increase in crimes, shootings
Mhm.
committed at school level.
Right.
And so since in December of 2021, for example, the state of Michigan prosecutor for that township where the latest shooting occurred actually filed criminal charges against the parents of the student who actually committed the shooting at a high school that killed 4 people and wounded 7 others. Now, a lot of people said that shouldn't be the case because that child should be responsible for their own crime, whereas others looked at it as the opportunity to arouse parents to make them realize that they are responsible. If the child lives under their roof, they are responsible for what goes on with that child.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we can't afford to be complacent about that. And this is why I wanted to bring this attention to the panel. Let me share my screen for a moment.
Well, I think in our present day that a lot of our problems is that people are not taking responsibility for their actions.
Right, right. I had a video. I had a video that I wanted to share with you, and I can't. I don't see it. I don't see it. Exhibit. Okay. Let me skip to this. Oops. Let me skip to this.
And there are so many different factors, I think, that come into play in our present day and age that was not necessarily so when I was in high school. You know, I think firearms are more easily accessible today.
Yes.
And the punishments are not there for doing wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. I think I found that video I wanted to share.
You know, when I grew up, you respected the officers, you respected the firemen, you respected your elders.
Absolutely. I can't find the. I apologize. I had a video I wanted to show. The subject of that video had to do with shootings in schools, and according to the FBI, more than 90% of all school shootings are committed by someone who actually goes to that school. And more than 80% of those school shootings, in those cases, at least one person that goes to that school knows about it. And so that being said, I'm trying to find that, a screen share that I wanted to do. I don't know why it's not working. I should have had somebody else do it. But needless to say, the situation is this. Last year in 2021, there were 164 cases of school shootings in California. California leads the country in school shootings.
Wow. And
since the shooting that occurred in Michigan in November of last year, it's been, law enforcement has said that a school shooting occurs once every 91 days. So since that school shooting in Michigan of last year, as of January 12th, we are at the 43-day mark. So what we need to do, or what we need to talk about, is what can we do as parents and as individuals to help stem that tide of school shootings. Now, it's a tricky subject. I know, Bert, I was speaking to you about it not too long ago. What do you think about parents being held accountable for school shootings?
James, as we've discussed before, I think it's a very complex question. There's no black and white answer to it. A lot of it goes back to we're living in a new society where people aren't as available to their children as they once were. They're, for whatever reasons, they're allowing their iPads and their TVs and their whatever it is to do the babysitting, to do the taking care of their children that they no longer either want to do, have time to do, too tired to do, whatever the reason is. Children are not easy to raise, obviously. And it takes a lot of time and effort. And you have to be there. So I think it's a very complex question. Now, as to responsibility of parents, in this specific instance of guns, I've had guns all my life. My children were raised around guns. When they were very, very small, the first thing I did was take them out and start teaching them gun safety. If the child is aware and constantly taught how to approach a weapon, it takes a lot of the glamour out of it. It takes a lot of the mystique out of it. They're aware of what the thing can do. You don't leave a 3-year-old child in your tool room with a running electric saw. It's the same thing with a gun.
Right.
As a parent, if you take a proper precaution, or as a responsible human being, if you take the proper precaution, lock your guns away, lock the ammunition in a different location, and you take all due responsibility and due diligence to protect those items, it lessens your responsibility. Obviously, to have them not in the house at all makes it far, far safer than having them there. But as a responsible human being, if you take the proper precautions, now, if the child breaks into your locked cabinet and he takes the gun and he finds the ammunition and he takes the ammunition, a parent, the responsibility of the parent to me is far less than if you leave it lying in your nightstand for easy access. It's more, it goes far deeper than just the gun. If it's not a gun, it's a knife. Are you going to take all of your knives out of your kitchen drawers? And if it's not a knife, it could be a 2x4 or a baseball bat. The whole weapon idea is anything can be used as a weapon. In this society of today, we're a lot more violent. We've been seeing more violent on TV, in games, and it's become somewhat more acceptable that when you hit somebody in the back of the head, they get up again. Well, in real life, it doesn't work that way. It's a giant question, and there's far more numerous answers than anybody's really capable of dealing with on it has to be a specific case.
Well, it does, and I agree with you with what you just said, and thank you very much for those comments. You know, according to the California Attorney General, you know, and the law, for example, California gun laws require owners, like you were saying, Bert, to make sure that the gun is stored, unloaded in a place not accessible by children or adults that have been prohibited from possessing a gun. And this is required per Penal Code 25100 PC. And failure to abide by that code can result in this case, a misdemeanor, leading to jail for up to 1 year. Now, the penalty is increased if the child is involved and has access to the gun and commits injury or death of the individual. So this is, let me just share this. Finally found it. Oops. Let's share try sharing my screen. Okay. Again, I apologize for this. I don't see the items to share. Gary, do you recall what I'm to look for? Are you still there?
I'm still here. What is the question?
I'm trying to share my screen.
The icon at the bottom, the green icon, share screen's not working for you at the bottom?
It's working. It says share, but I don't have, I don't see my,
So then, James, is your desktop is blue? So you don't need this Zoom page that you're on right now. Just close out that window or just click on your background on your
Right.
desktop.
okay.
So you need to go back to sharing your screen at the bottom.
And I wanted to,
No, but you're not there yet. So first you want to do the share screen at the bottom. You've had it a couple times throughout, but you don't have it at the moment.
yep,
There you go. So now when it comes, there you go. So now you should be able to find whatever it is that you want to share, and we can see your desktop right now.
let's see, I'm on the, got you guys on the other end, wrong end.
These are the California Leads Nation in Gun Safety.
That's it.
There you go.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I was going to say that California leads the nation in gun safety laws. And we even lead the nation in active shooting events, which in 2021, there were 222 in California, as opposed to 689 nationally in the US. The yellow highlighted areas indicate the current gun laws that have been recently enacted through the legislature, ranging from the ability of law enforcement to seize ghost guns, SB 320 to strengthen procedures, ensuring the relinquishment of guns from people who are prohibited to have them. Those are the red flag laws. AB 1057 allows law enforcement to seize ghost guns, as I said before. But California pioneered statewide gun safety protections approved by voters in 2016 with Proposition 63 that bans the possession of large ammo magazines, and it requires background checks to keep ammo safe out of the hands of dangerous people. And it was challenged in court, but was ruled constitutional by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal. Now, further down, California led the nation in school shootings in 2021, 168, and it doesn't account for accidental gun firings. In Michigan, as I said earlier, the prosecutor filed charges against the parents of the 15-year-old who perpetrated that crime that left people dead and wounded. And so California has some of the strongest gun safety laws in the nation. Take a look at this pie chart that I have here in front of you. You'll see that according to law enforcement, there are certain segments with commerce, meaning retail and so forth, having the lion's share of active shooter categories or active shooter incidents. That's followed by active shooter incidents that occur within education. that includes everything from high schools up to colleges. And that in and of itself has increased since 2020 even. This year, we've already had, in 2022, we've already had 24 active shooting events involving schools. So that's a troubling situation, and this is one of the reasons why we're talking about this tonight. 75% of school violence is known ahead of time. This is really something that is critical in that it's when we get to it and we talk about what parents can do, parents need to be able to speak with their children to find out what is going on at school and to encourage their children such that if they see something that is disturbing to them while at school, to let the parent know, who in turn can let the principal know. It's a matter of knowing what to watch out for. And most people who are likely to commit violence rarely act without signals. The law enforcement calls it leakage. For example, in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas high school shooting in Florida that took place several years ago. That particular student actually posted a photograph of himself with a rifle on social media saying that he was going to shoot up the school. So it wasn't a matter of one person knowing it, but the whole school knew about it, and yet nobody did anything about it. In the case of this Michigan couple who were arrested, it was shown that this Michigan couple actually gave their child the gun, taught him how to use it, knew what he was doing, and refused, even when they were contacted by the child's school, letting them know that there was something wrong with the child because of the notes and papers that that child was passing along. The parents did nothing. So it was based on this and other criteria that led that Michigan prosecutor to actually arrest the parents in the process of prosecuting them. Now, 90% of school shootings, at least one person had knowledge of the planned school attack, and over 80% of the shooters get their weapons from home. And again, as we said earlier, over 90% of school shooters are students at the campuses that they attack. So these particular facts and figures speak for themselves. It's something that we should be aware of. And the reason why we need to talk about this more is the fact that, let me point back to 2016 when LAUSD actually sent letters home asking parents if they owned guns and if they were aware of gun safety laws. And they asked the parents to sign that letter and to send it back to the school. Now, most parents did do that. And from the tally of the results from that letter, it was determined that 55% of those respondents knew or had some semblance of gun safety laws and knew that their guns should be unloaded and locked in a safe place out of reach of children. But that's 55%. Most of the parents in that survey did not know anything about gun safety laws, and therein lies a problem that we're faced with today. Because when you ask yourself the question, if California does in fact have some of the strongest gun laws in the nation, which we do, has some of the strongest gun safety laws in the nation, which we do, why is it that school shootings continue to creep up year after year? And these are topics that have to be talked about. Any questions with so far as what we've talked about? Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. What does a parent do? I think Danica hit on it earlier when she said how important it is that for a parent to know what the child is doing in school and to be able to react and respond to it. Should parents, in the case of the child in Michigan, do you agree that parents should be held responsible? Anyone? Danica, you're muted. Bert, you said it's a tough question.
Yes,
Bert.
in this particular case, because of the parents' either negligence or indifference, they should have a certain degree of responsibility to it in this particular case. But every case is going to be different, and it's going to have to be examined on a case-by-case basis.
Yes. Yes.
And again, like I said earlier, it goes much deeper. You got to start with the children when they're little. And if you're going to neglect them when they're little, as they get bigger, the negligence goes on. And once you lose sight of who your children are, then you're in trouble. Then you're in trouble and society's in trouble.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Any other comments with respect to that? Any other comments one way or the other? Gary? I know you're not a parent, but do you have what do you think about that case in Michigan? Vienna?
Hi there, I'm terribly sorry. Had a issue getting off mute. What was the question again exactly?
Well, I was referring to the case in Michigan where the parents of the child that shot those children in school, should the parents be prosecuted based on the evidence that the Michigan prosecutor has?
I don't think I could provide my opinion on that as a representative of the council president, unfortunately, but definitely here listening to your points and the
Okay.
discussion.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you very much. Danica, now you can unmute yourself and weigh in on that.
Like Bert says, in this instance, I think so.
Would there be instances where that would not be the case? And I'm not talking about one whereby little Danny steals someone's wagon. I'm speaking about a teenager in high school that commits a violent act with a gun that lives under your roof. I know one could argue it goes back to the right or wrong question. It all depends on what that child has been taught as they were growing up.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the parent too, and the way that the child was brought up. But in this case, the child did know and does know right from wrong, and yet he committed that act. Now there are reasons why these incidents take place. One of the hats that I wear is that I work for LAPD, where I train active shooter survival training at various locations, churches, and so forth. And I know when we get to the part where school shootings are involved, that's a very heated topic, and is one that people are very upset about. I wanted to cite the incident where LAUSD sent that letter home to parents, because one of the issues at hand is the fact that here in Los Angeles, with the number of school shootings that we had in last year in California, there has only been a handful of cases where the city attorney, in this case Mike Farrer, actually went after the parents based on violation of gun safety laws. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it during this meeting is the fact that perhaps there should be pressure put on the legislative side, that is the city attorney side, to actually bring charges against parents, to do a better job of researching and bringing charges against parents whose child commits a violent act with a gun at a school. Because keep in mind that these school incidents, it's not just a single individual going after another single individual. In the case of Michigan, 4 people were killed, 7 were wounded. Anytime that there's an active shooter event that takes place at a school, there are incidents where the kid may be after one individual, maybe like a rival gang member or something of that nature. But more often than not, there are deeper, darker issues. in the mind of that child that has caused them to do this. And when they do that, when they take that weapon to school, they are looking to rack up a body count. That is by definition an active shooter. And so we have to make it known, if we have all of these gun safety laws, if we have all of these laws, tops in the nation for all of these laws, if we have all of that, then why can't we drive down the shootings that occur in schools? And so part of that may have to do with the re-education of the parents, making sure that parents know what the gun safety laws are all about and what the consequences are for failure to abide by the gun safety laws. What do you think about that? What do you think about bringing a community, doing a community impact statement, for example, to the city council, requesting or highly suggesting that they look into a campaign to going back and re-educating parents regarding gun safety laws, and maybe even strengthening the gun safety laws. Of course, that would take an active con, but strengthening the gun safety laws in terms of consequences for failure to abide by them. So what do you think about that? How can we, for example, should we as a committee bring forth a motion to our board asking that or stating that a community impact statement be written to the city council requesting stronger education of parents with regard to gun safety laws? Would that be a way?
It could. It could.
Yes, Bert.
Maybe the city council could be approached about some public service announcements.
There you go.
Lock it up.
There you go. There you go.
PSA.
PSA. I like that idea. I like that idea. I'm glad we're recording this because I think that's something we should come and talk to the board about, doing a community impact statement. That would be a community impact statement for sure. Thank you for that, Bert. Gary, what do you think about that? Gary, you still there? Okay. Well, I mean, I think we've got some good ideas there, but I think by sitting back and doing nothing about it, other than the fact that shaking our heads every time a school shooting occurs, keep in mind, if you've noticed, every time a shooting occurs, an active shooting occurs, whether it be at a school or any other place, there seems to be copycat events that follow that.
Oh,
in
yeah.
short order. It happens every time. Last year, in 2021, in spite of COVID, there were 689 active shooter events. More than 702 people were killed and more than 2,800 people were injured. And so that number, in spite of COVID, increased from the previous year. So this year in 2022, I haven't seen the count on it yet in terms of active shooting events, but sure as shooting, and that's a play on words, sure as shooting, it's going to be in the high numbers as it's always been. And I think we as a public safety committee owe it to our community to at least let our feelings be known on behalf of the community and how it affects us. Because after all, the goal of the Public Safety Committee for Lake Balboa is to help increase the safety and security of people that live in our community. And so by doing something like this, I think is a step in the right direction. You know, I had let me just do one thing more. Okay. I was hoping to, there we go. Don't see it. All right. All right, I won't try to pull that up. I've got to master this screen sharing technique, which I will by the time we have our next meeting. I did have a report. Does anybody else have a comment regarding what we've spoken about so far?
No, I really like Bert's idea about a PSA.
I like
mean,
that.
we really,
I like that
if you
too.
think about it, we really haven't, as a society, have not had, it seems now it's, many of the PSAs tend to be very politically driven. You know, like I remember the littering one, the crying Indian, you know, Smokey the Bear for the forest fires.
Sure, and they do it every year for fireworks. So those are PSAs that we see airing. But yes, this particular one, I think it's a great idea that Bert had, and I think we're gonna run with this. So expect to see something more about this. I want to provide you with an update that we got from Chief Moore regarding the current situation with LAPD. LAPD Chief Moore said that his department is answering 911 calls and dispatching patrol cars while noting that you will see some delay in routine calls. This is due to the fact that there have been more than just a few officers that have been out because of COVID. I know that Officer Park has been, Officer Park, are you doing patrol duty at least one day a week? Still? Okay. I've been told that
I'm sorry, I was trying to mute myself. Yes,
Oh.
yes, we've been tasked with the patrol duties. One day a week or whenever they're short, we help out. It could be 2-3 days a week. It depends.
And has the chief ordered everyone to wear a KN95 or N95 mask?
Yes, but unfortunately, the department hasn't had enough of them to distribute to all the divisions. So we don't have them currently at our division.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Officer Park. The chief has also said that the LAPD has shut down the training academy after it saw a number of breakthrough cases among nearly 300 new recruits. And all the recruits are required to be vaccinated. They are now receiving instruction virtually at home. He says it's a setback, but it allows us to protect the entire academy training staff, and that we will continue to make those types of adjustments going forward. LAPD 3 jails have stopped taking in new people because of the increasing cases among inmates. That's an interesting comment, but it's sobering in and of itself. When they stop taking in inmates, Officer Parker, when you bring in a suspect at West Valley, are you putting him in the sorting him at West Valley until something opens up in Van Nuys?
Well, once we arrest them and transport them to Van Nuys, it's up to Van Nuys to decide how they want to treat individuals, you know, who might be COVID. So I don't know if they're releasing them if they feel that the crime is misdemeanor and it doesn't really rise to the level of having to transport to the actual jail out in downtown. I have no idea, but in our case, we just transport it to the Van Nuys jail and let them decide how they want to handle it from there once somebody is COVID.
Got you. Okay, thank you very much for that. So that's the latest that we've gotten from the chief. Also, I should mention that last month at our CPAP meeting, we definitely recorded that, so you can expect to see the recording of the CPAP Community Police Advisory Board meeting appear on the Lake Balboa website, as well as in social media. Anyone else have any comments you'd like to make before we close down? I'm just looking to see if I have any of the announcements. Oh, yes, I do. Is everyone aware that you can now receive free COVID-19 test kits? If not, again, that was another one of my screen share faux pas that I haven't been able to pull up, but I'm not the website is special@usps.com/testing. So special.usps.com/testing. And once you bring up that screen, there's a simple form to fill out where you put in your name, your address. You can even put your email in if you like, and you will receive free shipping by way of the USPS. You will receive 4 COVID-19 antigen test kits. From the time you put your order in, it's going to take anywhere from 7 to 12 days, they say, for you to receive it. They just opened up that website today. And when I heard about it, I get online and I've got mine ordered. You get a confirmation number and you'll get emails from the USPS letting you know when it's shipped and when you can expect to receive it. So that's free COVID-19 test kits. You should also be aware, I think most of you are, that there is a COVID-19 test site facility in Lake Balboa at the corner of Louise and Sherman Way, right across from the park, right across from Louise Park. They're open every day. And so those, there's no appointment necessary. And so you can go in, you can get tested. These tests, these free test kits are all part of the Biden administration's efforts to take up the slack because there's been some delay in people getting COVID-19 tested. And it's important that we all do that. It's important that we all continue to wear a mask, either the N95 or the KN95 mask, which, by the way, the government's going to be shipping out those free masks to us. It's going to happen soon, although I haven't seen a date yet, but we will be receiving free N95 mask by way of the Postal Service once again. So that's happening. Other than that, I hope to continue with topics that are of interest to everybody. I'm open to ideas from anyone who has an idea as to a topic that would be relevant to our community and that is on the minds of everyone. So with that, if there's no more comments, the time is 7:50. And so I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for doing all this.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good evening.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Good night, Thank you.
Hi, Viana.
Bye.